Hey, welcome back to Don't Run with Scissors. I'm Kelly, your favorite Jeep driving lawyer, mom of twins, three crazy rescue dogs who likes to craft in her spare time, has gone back to school to learn ASL, is trying to train for Ironman, and is renovating her house. If you're new here, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe button. It sends me a message. It boosts my serotonin and my self-esteem, and I could use that. If you're returning, grab a drink, sit on down, and let's have at it. Whew, my hearing aids are going a little wacko in my ears and screeching, and I don't know why. So if you see me taking them out, that's why. Okay, so lots going on. I am feeling much better. COVID took me down all week, essentially. It was a little crazy. I took the Plavaxavid. That is a horrible med. All I could taste in my mouth was like I had been sucking on burnt garbage and nickels. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. At least it's kind of out of my mouth. So, back it up. Our ASL sign of the week. Sign of the week is what? Birthday. Because yesterday was my birthday. So you're going to take your little middle finger and tap your chin and then your middle of your chest. So birthday. So happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear. Really, that's sweet. I don't know the sign for dear, so dear Kelly, happy birthday to me. So it was a very quiet day, which I totally appreciated. We had to take out the birthday cake. My son had a concert, that was quite lovely. So that was very cool. Nothing major. But I'm not complaining. It was nice. One second. So yeah, I am catching up on some things. I actually got quite a bit done, which is really surprising considering how bad I felt. I have a test tomorrow night. On Tuesday night, I have a project that I need to make up that was due last week, but we're finally now in the shape that we can do that. Although, again, I look like I have black eyes. What is that about? I don't know. And I missed a test, so I have to make that up in my other class. So, and I have a little synopsis for my yoga class to get my participation points. She's letting me write just a little one-page blurb on the difference, on what my opinion is, on the difference between reflection and meditation. So what's interesting is the week before we had class, and I didn't talk about this. If you're new here, we do life updates first on this channel. It just works out in my brain. And she, and I said, I really am struggling to sort of find that calm and enjoy that, like to use it as a relaxation tool. Do I understand the benefits that my body is finding already in yoga? Absolutely. And for that, I'm grateful. I said, but, like when we got to do it at home, I got to listen to different music. That seems to settle better. So she did pick different music. But she made it a point during that class that says you could include yoga into your routine for the benefits that it has, but not as a relaxation tool. And that's totally different and it's okay if that's how you view yoga. The point, though, with the use of something like yoga is you have to find what works for your body to be able to decompress and to de-stress. And so you can use yoga like for the strength and the stretching, and then use other tools in your toolbox to help with the de-stressing. And that finally made it a little bit like more like, okay, I don't have to do this for relaxation. I can use it as a different modality for my body. And I was like, I can get behind yoga under that theory. Absolutely. She's like, so if during yoga what makes you feel better is to run through a list of things like to organize your head, then do that. What? I can do that? Yeah. And then if later what really de-stresses me and allows me to sort of zone out is biking or swimming laps, then do that for that. So I'm sharing with that because it was one of those like light bulb moments for me. So she's having me write this little blurb about relaxation versus meditation, and I think that I enjoy those thought-provoking discussions that I'm having with her because I'll write my paper and then she always gives good feedback. In fact, I have to say, like, overall my professors this semester are really good about one, being on top of grades, which I greatly appreciate with my OCD, but also really good about giving good constructive criticisms or suggestions. That said, I also met with the tutor again, which I'm loving. Like, absolutely need to schedule more. I need to remember to do that tomorrow. So if you're watching this video on Thursday and I haven't, shoot me a message like on Instagram and just ask me, or like send me a little friendly reminder like, hey friend, don't forget to call and set up more tutoring. Because yeah. So I did my presentation and I gone back and forth with professor, but I met with my one tutor tonight and we went over it line by line. And she knows this professor much better. So got a really good perspective or different perspective on the critique. And we walked through like, yeah, I didn't film the presentation. So Erin had a couple suggestions. One was, look, I probably have my notes in my pile, to give the presentation again to myself and film it. And then her and I would go through it and see what we could sort of build on my skills, and things like that. She said one of the other things is once you do that, and especially if I make some of the suggestions and the corrections that my professor had offered, is to show my professor too. Like, hey, I took those into consideration. What I understand were were the issues, and I think I've corrected them. Would you mind spending a few minutes? I mean, it's less than a 10-minute presentation. Would you mind sort of going through it and offering some more critiques and suggestions on how I get better? It's the only way I'm going to improve. And so I really like that, and it was really good to hear that, have that discussion tonight. She's like, some of the critiques are because like I thought my skills were here, and my teacher's like, no, your skills are up here. You need to start performing up here. So she expects better of me. And that's kind of cool to think like, okay, hey, level up, level up. Even though you're not, I'm not confident that I'm really there, she has the faith, and she certainly has better eyes on the bigger picture of me in this area to make that call. So that was very cool. Okay, so let's see, we had to the sign of the week. So yeah, so feeling better, still not 100%. That's okay. Yeah. Um, so here's the other thing that I did. Those of you who have been following me on Instagram, thank you. Um, a couple things actually. Um, this is what happens when I get the messages and I get confused. Okay. Um, so I did the thing. I found, again, if you're on my Instagram, you have already seen these, and that's okay. So I found my Jeep and I picked him up Thursday. Took all the precautions and everything like that. So because I can't, and I've tried, I don't know how to do the little picture thingy, but I can show you the picture. Oh, maybe I can't show you. There we go. There we go. Okay, so that looks pretty good. Um, yeah. Okay, anyways. It is a red four-door Jeep with big old tires and a tow bar and a light bar, and he is very, very poofy compared to George. But that's Elmo. That's Elmo. He's so cute. Um, he is just amazing. I love him, and it feels really good to be back in a Jeep. And yeah, it feels good. Feels right. Which is good because that's why we waited so long to find. I mean, it took almost 2 months. And I was about ready to give up, not gonna lie. So yeah, so it was a big thing. So the other news in my life that was totally unexpected and not planned, and I don't know what the heck I was thinking, but I do know what I was thinking, and I'm going to explain it, and you guys will understand why it unfolded the way it is unfolding. Okay, so a while ago, my mother was babbling about her friend, and I'm not trying to be mean, but like my mother babbles a lot, and whatever. She's my mother, like mother, like daughter in that respect. My mother talks a lot. My grandfather talked a lot. It's genetic, so it wasn't a big deal. I was like, okay, whatever, mom. So yesterday we were at my son's concert, and she said, "You won't believe this." I'm like, oh, jeez. God only knows what's gonna come out of my mother's mouth. Like the one, like, yeah, okay. So we all know I do not have the best relationship with my mother. It is what it is. Okay. So my mother says, my friend, fill in her name. And I said, well, I don't really know her, but yes, I know who you are talking of. She's like, yeah. So she's a little older than my mother. My mother's 74. She has Alzheimer's and leukemia. Bad combo. like, there's no good way to come out of that at her age. So her daughter has elected to put her into a skilled care facility. I have no problem with that decision. That makes sense to me. But my mom's friend has a cat who is 16 years old. So not a little, like, not a young kitten. This is a senior cat. Who has been a mostly indoor cat all of its life. Who sleeps in basket, apparently. And look, I know dogs. I am, like, have I had cats? Yes. Over the years, I have. It has been a long time. I think my cat died when the twins were like 2. They're gonna be 22 in like 2 weeks. Don't ask how I have a kid that old, let alone 2 kids that old. Okay, so daughter has been watching this cat, which, come to find out, really means that she's essentially locked the cat in the basement because she doesn't want to deal with trying to get her animals adjusted, all of the animals adjusting to each other. So she just locked it in the basement. Does she feed it? Yes. But that's about it. Like, what? Okay. Because that's bad enough. Because the daughter has reached out to a couple rescues, I don't know how many, I don't know which rescues, whatever, and everybody is full, which, yes, a lot of rescues are at their max capacity because everybody is turning in their COVID pet. Just another soapbox. My mother's friend's daughter, follow that one, has decided that this 16-year-old cat, who has essentially lived inside all of its life, is going to be dumped at her friend's farm to be a barn cat and fend for itself. Let's be honest, what that essentially is. That is a slow, potentially slow, painful death for this cat. That cat won't make it. So next weekend, can you see him? Ugh, maybe. Let's see. That's Houdini. There you go. That's Houdini. I am going to go pick up Houdini. So apparently I now have 3 crazy rescue dogs, a geriatric rescue cat, and 5 rescue guinea pigs. Still, 2 kids and an ex-husband living at my house. So, but what am I supposed to do? So if you are in and around the Detroit, Michigan area and would like a geriatric cat, who apparently is supposed to be good with other cats and dogs, she did not say about little kids because nobody's really got little kids right now. And might want a cat named Houdini. Please let me know. I kind of resigned myself to the fact that I'm now going to own a cat. I have no idea how I'm going to make this quite work. I don't really like cats on counters and on tables, but I don't know how else I'm going to feed this cat because if I put cat food down next to the dog's dishes, my dogs are going to eat it. So it's going to be a process. So, okay. So those are the big news things. The other thing is the Oxford school shooter, because I refuse to say his name. I will not give him fame and notoriety. There are a few people's names that I do not say. His will always be one that I will not say, because one of the things that he has said is that he wants to be famous. He wants to be known. people to know his name for what he did and everything. I won't give him to that. He has pled guilty to all the counts. They didn't offer him any deals. He pled guilty. Now, realistically, he was going to be found guilty. There were a couple charges that not sure he would have been found guilty on terrorism, which is one of the charges, which is very unique. It's like the first time a school shooter has been charged with terrorism. He pled guilty. The lawyer in me just, there's something that, like, what are we, like, why the switch? Why the switch all of a sudden that we're pleading guilty? What happened? Am I glad? Yeah. Yeah. He can rot in a cell. That is the gut reaction that I have. He can rot in a cell. And then I take a step back and I say, we have a broken system that failed this kid. His parents failed him. Do I feel sorry and that he should not be spending his life in jail? No. No. But there were a lot of warning signs that got glossed over. And maybe things would have been different had somebody paid attention to the mental health aspects that were screaming out on this kid. I don't know. And we'll never know. But so it'll be interesting to see how things unfold now with his parents, which again is another very unique first of this kind, where we are now criminally charging the parents of a school shooter. Very unique. So that's going to be very interesting. Am I grateful that Buck and the other parents will not have to go through watching a trial of their shooter, their son's shooter? Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I can't imagine. So, if you were friends with me on Facebook, for my birthday, I did, they let you do the fundraiser. In the past, I've always used Challenge Athletes Foundation and tried to raise funds for a child. And I've read, a couple thousand, I think, over the years. Nothing major, but whatever. Every little bit helps. This year I did 42 strong. So if you have donated for my birthday, thank you. It is something I am very, I hold it very dear in my heart, obviously. So, with that said, though, I think that's about all the soapboxing I have right now. Yeah. So let's talk about stitching, because this is Flosstube, and that's what we do on the Flosstube. We talk about stitching, not so much with soapbox. I mean, we get soapboxes. Come on, we all do it. Okay. So, but let's talk about some stitching and some plans and that. And we do have a little bit of haul, but not a whole lot. And so I play WhipGo. My board is getting to be almost a blackout, which is amazing because the year before I kind of dropped it and it was bad. I didn't plan well. The first year I overestimated goals, and I had like all these, oh yeah, I have a hate, I'm gonna get a finish on a whole page on this, and I'm gonna finish this huge project, and yeah, no. So this year I planned it a little bit more practical, and each square is 10 days on 10 days or the finish on whatever project is listed. So let's start there. I actually filmed this earlier, then I screwed it up in trying to do something, so things are out of order, and just bear with me. Okay, so one of the calls for October was square number 1. For me, square number 1 is Pandemic by Long Dog Sampler. I am doing this on just white 14 count Aida that I don't remember who I got it from. It's been so long, and I buy so much by the yard. I think it could be from Rita Renee on Facebook, which I buy a lot of yardage from her because it's just inexpensive. And if I'm doing a full coverage, I don't really care. What I've come to realize is I don't really care if the fabric is off-white versus white, because you're not going to see it. It's a full coverage. So I don't worry about it. Okay, so I did 10 days on pandemic. We've now reached that goal. This last time since you last saw me, where did I work? I mean, because I had showed you down here, but that was before. You've seen that. I worked up in here. Sorry. It is a lot of fabric. Amy will love it. Okay. So, I have to look. I had this part in, and I was kind of in here a little bit into the leaves. So I've got more of this big, like, I think it's rose, like a rose with rose buds. I think that's what it's supposed to be. Anyways, this big flower. And I finished this in here and have started this. Oh, and I added a little butterfly. So not bad. So we have reached the 10 days. So I don't know. I can't tell you if Pandemic's going to come out again this year. I don't know. It would be nice if it did. I don't know. I have my board tentatively planned out for next year. And I've taken a couple pieces that I'd really like to see significant progress, if not a finish on. And I've listed them multiple times. So there's only like 6 or 7 projects on my board for next year. But then I saw somebody else's board and I really like their idea. So I'm debating, because what they did is they put on there like one of their squares is a new start, which I don't necessarily need. But like 1,000 stitches in 310. It's kind of a cool idea to do that, like more like that, without naming a project, but just go 1,000 stitches in this color, 1,000 stitches on a full coverage, or 10,000 stitches on a full coverage, or whatever it is. Like, it's kind of a cool concept. So I'm kind of second guessing my original plan. So we'll see. Okay, so I did that. So the other goal for this month was Lady of the Flag, which was my box 6. We skipped that because I could only get Pattern Keeper to load one of the, like, it didn't join the files. So it's page 1 of Lady of the Flag, because I took it to Kinko's, my pattern, and scanned it in. But then when I had it up the other day to look at it, to start marking off like the stitches that I've already done, it wasn't showing up the grid right. So I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. So I may have to reload Lady of the Flag onto Pattern Keeper and go from there. So I didn't really, with my brain power, I couldn't bring myself to do it. So I elected to work on square 12, which for me is 10 days worth of work on the closest whip that I have to being done. So I had listed Plant Love and the Happy Halloween. So I did 5 days on, I'm mixing in my finishes, just so you guys know, with my whips, which is probably not right, but that's what we're doing, because life. And yeah. So I finished it. This is Happy Halloween. by Primrose Cottage Stitches. I did use the call for floss. It calls for 28 count wheat Lugana. I used 32 count country mocha Lugana. It tells you that you need 2 skeins of each of the 3 colors of Weeks Dye Works. I did not use the second. I didn't even touch the second skein on any of the 3. There's a chance that had I done 28 count, maybe I would have needed the second skein, like a little bit of the second skein of onyx, but I don't think so. Like I think you'd be all right. So there we go. How cute is that? It's so cute. I will tell you, see those little bows? If those come undone, they will never get done again. They will never be redone. There's no way to retie them. They took me forever to tie. So I think what I may do is put a little dab of glue on the knot part to hold it. Because, again, if they come undone, I got nothing. There's no way. There's no way. Okay, so that was the first 5 days out of the 10 because we got to finish. So then we set it aside. Ooh, I'm going to FFO it. I am actually going to FFO it so that I can give it to my friend for Halloween. Although I thought that he wanted it. He saw it in the store when we went up to Stitches and Blooms up in Alpena. And she has it done like, kind of like either, looking at the picture, I'm not sure if it was a flat fold, if it was on a cube, but it was similar to this. But it was a raffia bow instead of the ribbon, like orange and natural raffia. Super, super cute. I thought that's what he wanted, how he wanted it finished. So I was like, okay, let me go through see if I have a cube that I can put it on. And I think I actually do have one. And the other thing that I need to stop doing, do y'all see that edge? Hello? Why? Why did I do that? And you will see why this is an ongoing trend right now with me. I don't know. Okay, so the other part of so the other one is Plant Love, and that was a stitch along by Stitch Life magazine. It was in one of their stitching boxes. This is Penelope. This pattern, the artwork is done by Chirp and Whimsy, and then Stitch Life magazine turned it into a cross stitch pattern. It was part of their, I think, like one of their first little stitching boxes that they did. Super cute. It was a great box. Like it's actually the only stitching box I've ever gotten, and it was gifted to me, so I'm like extremely grateful. So I have worked 2 days on this, and I have 3 more in the square to be able to black out the square. I think in the 3 days I should be able to get it done. I just have to finish this heart here. There's a blue heart, a little orange colored orb down here, and another green leaf, and then some back stitching. So I should in those 3 days be able to get that done, and then we'll have yet another finish on top of the square being finished. Let me just tell you that even if it takes me longer than the 3 days because, you know, life, so some days I don't get to have big stitchy days, this is getting finished. It is not going back in my whip pile. It's getting finished, at which point I will take my little tag off because they're reusable, and I will wash my pouch, and I will put something else in there. What's going in there? I don't know right now. I'm trying not to start more things unless it's a gift for somebody. Okay, so then the other thing that I worked on, this is for my sorority sister that I got. We're doing a stitching squirrel, so we're all like crafters. Christmas exchange. We've done it for a couple years now. I have my person. So I am stitching just the squirrel. I did not stitch the word, and I did not stitch the little acorns down there. I only did the squirrel. I have used this pattern. This was a good investment for me. Like, I don't generally stitch the same pattern more than once, except for so far each year for my stitching squirrel sister, I have stitched this squirrel. This is my default squirrel pattern. I stitched it on toweling linen from Seams Fabric in East Lansing. Super great store. And I wasn't, if you recall, I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to do this. Now, is it perfect? No. Would you know that? Unless you really know the pattern, I don't think you would know it. I'm super, super proud of this. How cute is that? So our sorority colors are red, buff, and green. So I stitched it in red on the buff and green toweling. I still have to do the edges, but hello, it's a finish. It's a finish. And it's almost FFO'd. Who am I? We all know I do not FFO anything. Okay, but if that was not enough stitching, I know, hold on to your hats. Because we got more. Oh, we got more. I finished all of the names for my classmates for my pixie. Do you see the ongoing theme there? I couldn't give it any more fabric to finish it because I stitched the next one way too close. So some of them are very, very tight. So I started mounting them on film core board, and then I was going to back them with something. I think what I'm going to do is tomorrow, sometime in the next day or two, I'm going to either run to Joann's or Michael's, and I'm going to get mat board because it will be thinner. And so those of them that are super close to the edge, I won't have to worry about having to wrap around so much thickness. I think that's the better plan, because, you know, some of them it's not such a big deal, but like that barely fits. Now, am I a little worried about now, how is that going to work out when I peel it off because I hot glued it down? Yes, I am nervous. Not gonna lie, I am nervous, but I think that is the better overall plan of attack. The other thing is I have found my X-Acto knife to cut the board with, because I was trying to do it with scissors, and so my edges on my board are a little rough. So yeah, so that is my plan. Everybody knows they're coming, but they don't, like, everybody understands, like, what. Okay, so the other one that I am working on, and if Plant Life doesn't take me 3 days and I still have days left in that square, then the project that I will focus in is Hands-On Design Cookie Exchange from last year. This is the called for DMC on the called for fabric. I've started to add in the cookies and the treats. This I am going to send to my Christmas exchange partner through Stacy Stitches. I think it's Stacy C. Stacy Stitches Exchange. I need to follow up on my Halloween exchange, because we all remember the debacle where I sent it to my Christmas person, who then ended up with COVID, and she was going to forward it on to the right person, because I know that I owe her postage to do it, but like I said, she's been sick. She got sick, and I don't remember if she sent, like, I gotta follow up on her to see if she sent it, like, forwarded on. So I did finish stitching all of the names. I think that's all of the stitching that I did. Okay. That's not all of the crafting I did. So, in George, one of the things that I had that was gifted to me was a headrest cover, and it was a minion because I love the minions. And that will go in Elmo because there are a couple things I took out of George like that that are going in Elmo. But one of the things that I am doing, and I started working on it, and there is no pattern because I haven't been able to find one. But I'm going to make headrest covers. So this is going to be Elmo, an Elmo headrest cover. And then I have 4 headrests in Elmo. So my minion will go on one of the ones probably in the back seat. So I'm going to crochet Oscar the Grouch and Cookie Monster, who are a couple of my other favorite Sesame Street characters. But this is going to be Elmo. So I'm hoping to get this done really quickly. So that is all of the crafting that I have been doing. As far as haul, I ordered the last floss that I need, the ribbon red by Classic Colorworks, but otherwise they came in. How pretty are these? Okay, there we go. That's better. It's not great. There we go. So those are the colors to do Christmas time from Fat Quarter Shop. Super cute. I'm going to have to reprint out the pattern because I don't remember what I did the pattern. And then I'm going to, it calls for wheat colored Ada. So I'm going to just coffee dye some, rather than buy it. And then, so that I want to start because that is another Christmas present. That's why it's already got it back. The other thing that I got in that I think it's kind of weird, but it's not really weird. So I am working on the model stitch for my ASL friends, and I'm second guessing myself that the fabric that I picked is not big enough. I'm second guessing. I gotta double check because anxiety is a bear. So I am used to the fancy flosses that I have always been in 5-yard chunks. But I ordered from JT Stitches. I don't remember where she is. I don't remember. But hers, for the same price, are 10-yard skeins. I don't quite understand why. I'm not going to complain. But I thought that was interesting. I didn't even know you could buy them in 10-yard hanks. So yeah. So I have to work on that model stitch. I have several in my brain to chart out that I haven't. I don't know what the Whipco pulls are yet for November, but I am literally down to working on Lady of the Flag, which I've got to figure out the pattern keeper situation, and then we'll be ready to go. Tree of Life. I think that's a Barbara Anna design that was only available through Nitka Moscow. I have started it, but didn't get very far. So we'll see how far I get in 10 days. And then the Epic Disney Sale that I'm doing. That is really the Epic Disney Storybook Sale, I think is what Clouds Factory calls it. It's a big old project. Ivory Needle Stitches, Ivory Needle Shop on Etsy. She is also charting out some of the other movies. And she actually has a better Cinderella, Snow White, Cinderella, and Sleeping Beauty Castle. It's a little bit, I guess, closer, as close as it can be to the castles at the parks. So I have her other charts, and she had added Fox and the Hound, so I have that added. So right now I have 29 different movies, Disney movies to do, which is fine. It's fine. It's fine. And then somebody else charted out Maleficent's castle. I love Maleficent. She is my favorite Disney villain. She is. And so now I'm trying to decide, because I don't want to put Maleficent's castle in the middle, because I don't know why I don't want to, but I mean, in some ways, maybe that's the answer. Okay. So I have Maleficent's castle, I have Snow White, I have Sleeping Beauty's castle, and I have Cinderella's castle. And I can do the 3 columns with 10 movies down each. Now, realistically, there's going to be more movies, because I know Yvette from Ivory Needle is going to chart out more Disney Pixar movies. And so the question becomes, do I want... So anyways, I had started it. I had dyed the fabric, and I had started it. And I literally have just the one castle almost done in the middle. And I've never been thrilled with it. I don't like the way it looks. I don't like the coverage. I don't know if maybe if I stitched it with 3 strands, if it would look better on this big old piece of fabric. I don't know. So I have decided that I'm going to try and dye some new fabric. I have a big piece that's 60 yards wide. Nobody would be surprised if that was reality. Let's be honest, nobody here who knows me and is stuck around with some of my projects would be surprised if I actually was trying to work on a 60-yard wide piece of project, but I'm not. I'm not. I have 60-inch wide fabric, and I think I have a 2-yard piece. Now, the thing is, if I dye it in a mottled, like right now I have evening blue Rit dye from a different project. I have rose quartz Rit dye. And then I also have, oops, excuse me, sorry. I have Dylon Ocean Blue, which has really got a lot of purple in it. I know I don't want just a solid, I want modeling to it. And I ideally like some pink in there and a little bit of purple splashed in there. Whatever piece I dye at this point, it's got to be big enough to cover all of them. I don't know how to make it, but do I now, the Clouds Factory one is charted 3 columns wide. And I forget how many down. I think it's only like 6 down. I don't remember. And I don't have it loaded into Pattern Keeper. I mean, I guess what I could, so the question becomes is, do I do 3 columns wide and move it so that I have a castle on top of castle on top of column 1 and 3, and just like nothing kind of in, like maybe I could put, I don't know, maybe some sort of Disney magic or something in the middle where a castle would be. Do I put Maleficent's castle in the middle, and then on top of the top, and then if I do the 2 and 1 and 3, then maybe on the bottom I could put Maleficent's castle in the middle. At the bottom, do I put the generic castle that is chartered by Clouds Factory in the middle? And then what do I do with wanting to incorporate the better version of Sleeping Beauty and Cinderella's castle and Maleficent's castle? Like, how do I make all of this work? I could. This is the 50th year anniversary. We just ended it with their 50th year celebration. So in some ways, what I could do, and this would like put an end to like, okay, I don't have to worry about more movies coming out and adding them in. I could just do celebrating in the middle, like chart out in the Disney lettering, 50 years of Disney magic. And then do the 2 princess castles on the end, and then Maleficent's on the middle, in the bottom. I could stitch Maleficent's castle separately, I guess. It's not very big. But then what do I do with it? I don't know. So if you have ideas, throw them at me, because between November and December, we're going to have to work on Disney's castles. Do I pull out the old fabric that I have dyed, which is a huge ass piece of fabric? Do I maybe try to stitch a little bit with 3 strands? It's 14 count Aida. Where the new piece that I have to dye, I think, hang on, it's right here under my booty. That looks like it's an 18 count. Which will automatically save space versus a 14 count. Do I pull out the 14 count, see what it would look like if I stitched 3 strands over 1 square? And maybe that will make the coverage, because, oh my God, I do not want to waste, like, that's a lot of fabric if I'm just kind of, I don't know what I would use it for necessarily. So I sort of feel like I owe it to try the 3 strands to see if I can get it to like have the coverage that I want it to have. So maybe that, I don't know. So let me know what you think. I swear I'm not crazy. So I thought it's way too long. This video is taking on a life of its own. With that though, additionally, I need to go to bed. I'm really tired. So I'm going to let you guys go. If you need me, if you have ideas, pop them down below. If you want to do the Christmas time sale from Fat Quarter Shop with us, I know Janet's jumping on board. It is free. The pattern is, excuse me, I have the hiccups. The pattern is free. You can do it in the Fancy Floss. They have it charted in the DMC. Either way, I think it's going to be gorgeous. It's adorable. It's so cute. And then what I'd like to ideally find is, I kind of want to find like a little version of a snowshoe maybe, or like one of those little, I look like I'm trying to like be karate chopping, but the little like sled baskets, or even a little old sled would be super, super cute. So I need to keep my eyes out for something like that, either like the old basket that I could pop it in, or like I just said, I think I want an old sled to mount it on. but the piece is little. So I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm going to go to bed because I have classes tomorrow and tests and all the things, and hopefully I can talk somebody into doing dishes. Oh, by the way, I also got a new stove, and it's all my stove that I've been telling you guys, and I think I showed you. It's hooked up. It's fantastic. I gotta get used to it. My stove must have really been bad and going, and I didn't realize. So this thing cooks really fast compared to that and gets really hot. So I have to watch things a little bit more closely now. But
you don't even have to go halfway for it to get as hot as it used to.
Yeah, so that's been kind of fun. So with that, again, if there's anything I can do for you, feel free to reach out to me. I am His Princess Kelly on Instagram. I am Kelly Regal Green on the Facebooks. I am still, there's some new scents for sewing wax. And I still love it. Oh, tip. If it starts to, you feel like it might be a little flaky on your wax, heat it up. For me, like my laptop, the one section at times gets warm, and I set it like my container on there, and it's right as rain. And it only takes like a minute sitting on my computer like that, and then it's good to go, and I don't have any problems. I did figure that out. Not that it's never been like bad, even when it was like, it was almost like I got a little too much, like maybe I pushed too hard, my thumb or fingers too much into the wax, so it felt like it might have been too much. I just run it through my fingers again, just a second time, just but I have found that I like it better when I have it and it's a little bit warmer, maybe because I don't feel like I have to push as hard. I don't know, whatever. I still love it. I still use it all the time. I don't stitch without them now. So yeah, so I'm gonna let you guys go. I'm going to go to bed. I will talk to you all in a week where hopefully we will have even more finishes and maybe even some FFOs. Who knows? And by then we'll know what the WIPCO calls are for November. And yeah. Oh, and the other thing is be patient because in December apparently I am now second chairing 3 trials coming up, one of which is an attempted murder. I have never tried an attempted murder, and I am second chairing it. As a defense attorney. So yeah. So we for sure are going to need to de-stress. So, and I did register for next semester, and I am only taking 3 classes. That is it. That is it. 3. They're all 3 for my major, and I am not taking any extra classes. It's just, no. I need to take a deep breath. So, with that, okay. Again, His Princess Kelly. If you need anything, if you have any suggestions, pop them down below. We'll talk soon.